Welcome to the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday, the 25th day of March, 2014. How about that? Christmas only 3 months ago. In some parts of the country, of course, it still feels like Christmas. If you have any thoughts as to what's happening to the global weather patterns, I would like to hear them. Let's go right to the phones now. By the way, 844-374-5433. That's 844-374-5433 or 844-DR-Glidden. 844-Dr. Glidden is the number to call to talk to me live here on the radio today. Lines are open. Let's go to Oregon and talk to Alan. I think his sister has something going on. Hey, Alan, thanks for the call. You are live.
Well, thanks, Dr. Glidden. Hey, I heard you mentioning, before you started, I heard you mentioning something earlier about the pharmaceutical industry locking down things and the FDA never going along with the naturopathic doctors, and that's because the pharmaceutical industry is basically ran by the Rockefellers, and they're the ones that head up the FDA. So you're never going to get a cooperation from there at all. So.
Yeah, there was a great book I referenced in my book. It was called Rockefeller Medicine Man by E. Richard Brown. It's out of print now, but it's a great book, Rockefeller Medicine Man. If people really understood the historical evolution of the practice of medicine in the United States, there would be a riot. There would be a riot. We don't have a free medical market. We haven't had a free medical market. And, when the king can do whatever the king wants to do, and there's no harm and there's no foul, there's no problem. For instance, the American Medical Association in the mid-'80s was convicted in federal court. Look it up. It's Wilkes versus the AMA, Wilkes versus the AMA. The federal courts found the American Medical Association guilty of promoting a 10-year slander campaign against the chiropractors. They were lying, slandering the chiropractors, telling they enrolled their MDs to tell their patients that don't go to chiropractors because they're dangerous, they have substandard medicine, they're quacks, and they'll hurt you. And it was all a pack of lies. And they were convicted in federal court of lying, and what was the fine? $25 million, which was a drop in the freaking bucket. Nobody went to jail. And this is what happens, in a monopolistic society like this. So this is why I'm so enamored of longevity, not only because it works, but and it does work better than anything I've seen in alternative medicine and naturopathic medicine, but because of the social mission here. The social mission is we're not going to fight the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to do an end around. We're going to get people so healthy they don't need to use them. And, that's brilliant as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. I have two questions for you. One was one that I was dealing with a couple weeks ago, and the other one's a new one about my sister. We'll start with that one first. I just signed my sister up. She's now a longevity distributor. She works for the medical group, and so she's telling me that there's a lot of people who are in her office that are sick, and I says, well, hey, you're going to be the leader of the pack in this one here because these products work. What got her started was not just me, but she raises Siberian Huskies up there.
Oh, yeah.
And she has a sick dog, and so I put her on Dr. Wallach's pet products, and she saw this dog go from almost death to becoming, as she put it last night, almost puppy play. And I said, well, there you go. So now she's like all into it. She wants to get, going on this. So I said, well, what do you want to do exactly? And she says, well, I'd like to lose some weight because when you work for the medical industry, you have a tendency to have a lot of the rep come in, bring in food. And so she's gained a bunch of weight being there. So we got her set up. I got her instead of getting the healthy weight start pack, I got her one of each. I got her the healthy body start pack original, and then the Peach Fusion. So one of each, because I see there's benefits from both. So I like to mix mine together. And I got her on the Slender Effects meal replacement. And I got her a couple of bottles of the selenium, and I got her some pollen bursts because she said she was feeling kind of low on energy. And I said, well, we're going to put you on pollen bursts, and that's going to give you that blast midday. And so I know that you and Dr. Wallach have a slightly different perspective as far as how you recommend these products to be used. I know you talk about the calcium being taken at a different time than the vitamins, and selenium taken at a different time than the vitamins too, as I recall. Is this my memory serving me right?
Well, Wallach and I are on the same page as far as all of this goes. There's a company that was brought into Youngevity about 2 years ago called ASAP. And it was the introduction of ASAP into the Youngevity armamentarium of supplements that kind of changed the conversation in Youngevity about weight loss and what's the best way to do that. So I'm not a big fan of ASAP up front. I'm a big fan of ASAP downstream, and Dr. Wallach and I, well, you know, Dr. Wallach, it really depends. You have to understand from Dr. Wallach has a slightly different perspective on this because of his position in Youngevity as a corporate member, right? But in any event, the only thing that makes people gain weight is that they eat too many calories. There's no gene that codes for obesity. One person wasn't born with a stomach that's too big, right? There was nobody in Auschwitz or Dachau or any of the other death camps of World War II. There was nobody that was interred there that was overweight. It doesn't matter what their age, their sex, their height, their weight, their pre-existing medical condition was, or their genetic predispositions. When you stop eating, you lose weight. The only thing that makes people gain weight is we eat too many calories, and the only reason that we eat too many calories is because the body has wisdom and intelligence, and the body knows it's nutritionally starved. So when your body knows that it's running out of calcium and magnesium and vitamin D and selenium and zinc and vitamin A and vitamin B and vitamin C, that it starts to freak out. So the intelligence of your body, the vital force of your body, the innate God-given, self-regulating mechanisms of the body kick in, and your body makes you eat in the desperate attempt to secure these nutrients. But the food that you're eating doesn't have what you need. So you eat and you eat and you eat and you eat, and you still have a strong appetite. You'll eat 3,000 calories at Olive Garden for lunch, and then 2 hours later you're starving again. So you eat more calories. Why are you driven to eat too many calories? Because your body is nutritionally starved. So really the solution for this is just simple and elegantly, startlingly so. When you give the body all 90 essential nutrients appropriate for its weight, and you stop eating 10 bad foods. Now, the reason that we, in this case, eliminate those foods is because they will interfere with your body's ability to absorb the nutrients. So when we eliminate the 10 bad foods and fill the body's nutritional tank up, after 2 or 3 weeks, your craving for calories disappears. And then it becomes very, very, very easy to get on board with a limited calorie intake. 1,500 calories or less is the goal. And when you're trying to do that with a nutrified body, it's easy. When you're trying to do that with an undernutrified body, it's impossible. You can't do it. You can do it for maybe 2-3 months, but then Mother Nature comes a-knocking, and this is why people go to Jenny Craig and they'll lose weight, and then, 3 months later they've gained it all back because you can't fight Mother Nature. So our solution for weight loss is easy. Just give the body the 90 essential nutrients, eliminate the 10 bad foods, and then when you're into that groove and you've gotten used to doing that every day, after about 4 weeks, dial in 1,200 calories a day or less. And when you do that, you'll lose weight like a racehorse. I don't care which healthy pack you're on, as long as you're taking it appropriate for your body weight and you've eliminated the 10 bad foods.
Can she mix in, like I told her, basically you take the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, mix in the Osteofex, and what I take is a selenium, and I take the capsules apart and I stick them in there.
Yeah, that'll work. No problem. The only problem with that is that some people, their stomach is sensitive, and so they have trouble doing all of that on an empty stomach. And so they have to, they become kind of naturally predisposed to take the supplements with food. And that's not a problem, as long as the food that you're eating is phytate-free, Phytate,
right.
phytate-free. So, because phytates bind to minerals, right?
Right. I was telling the guy at Costco yesterday, the Vitamix man, about that, because he was mixing in the spinach with the other goodies, and I said, the spinach has phytates in it. What's that? And I said, well, you better look it up. So, I like to think
yeah, right? I mean, there you go.
Got to keep everybody educated.
Yeah, simple steps, right? Simple steps.
All right. Would you think to have her take the Slender Effects drink first and then do the regimen, or would you think she would do the vitamins first and then do the Slender Effects?
Well, the Slender FX is only it's recommended as a meal replacement, and the only reason that the Slender FX is there is to give her a sense of being filled up while she is attempting a 1,200 calorie a day diet. Okay. If she's not attempting to dial in 1,200 calories a day, the Slender FX is irrelevant. It won't work. What works here is 1,200 calories a day. And for some people, that's easy to do without the Slender FX. And for some people, that's hard to do without the Slender FX. But the only reason that the Slender FX works is because it's part of a meal replacement strategy when you actually are counting your calories and dialing in 1,200 or less a day. So if she's attempting that, then she can use the Slender FX, and it doesn't matter. The only thing that would matter in that regard is her lifestyle. What's easier for her to do, right? And that's really the only caveat there. Hey, listen, Alan, stick around. Hard break. I'll pick you right up as soon as we come back, and I appreciate your patience. Stick around, brother.
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, and this is the luckiest day of your life. You've tuned in to where we make it real. Stick around. Want to get away from your MD? I don't blame you. Welcome aboard. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, bringing you science-based, clinically verified alternatives to the idiocy proposed by conventional medicine when it comes to chronic disease. Remember, you need the right dog for the right hunt. Your MD is the perfect person to go to if you have trauma to the body, right? The perfect person. If you really need surgery, perfect person to go to. But when it comes to chronic disease, bringing your body to an MD is a fool's errand. There is a better way, and that's what we talk about here every day from 3 to 5 Central, Monday through Thursday, and on Fridays, it's Fridays with Mike Phillip. And by the way, Dr. Wallach up in Canada this weekend. I'll have details for you about that in a few minutes. Right now, we're talking Alan from Oregon. Alan, are you still with me?
I'm still here.
All right. So who's next, and what do you want to talk about next?
All right. Well, I called you a couple weeks ago about where I thought it was a muscle in my shoulder area.
Oh yeah.
But I'm somehow not believing that it actually ended up being a muscle, because on my left shoulder, on my left arm, I could put my arm up behind my back. Let's see, what would that be? Up to an L position, like you would if you put somebody's arm in an arm lock.
Yeah.
But on my other arm, the one I'm talking about, I can't hardly bend it at all. I mean, it's darn near up and down. It's very painful, and I've never experienced anything like that before. It just won't go. It feels like somebody's twisted my arm without even being up up there. And
so that speaks to a rotator cuff issue, right? That speaks because those are the muscles that are stressed when you do that, and those are the muscles that hold your arm to your torso, the rotator cuffs.
Okay. So that would be now I'm taking a boatload of Youngevity's products because I got my tax refund, and I thought, oh boy, this is time to load up.
Yeah, go ahead.
You remember, maybe a month or two ago, I had called you and I'd asked you. I'm always asking you a bunch of questions. I asked you about what you take personally. Yeah. And you told me what you took, and so I kind of put that into the old bean. And so what I take is the Healthy Start Pack, both 1 and 2, split up along with the selenium, along with the glucogel, along with Sweeties, along with the Ultimate Daily Tabs. and I got an extra bottle of that Cal Toddy, which I really like. That Cal Toddy is really nice.
Yeah, I like it too.
And I'm taking all that. I'm sure I'm leaving something out. And so I'm figuring that no matter, what I'm doing, I'm hitting the right bases with what I'm taking with my body.
Well, all right. So we got to keep it all in perspective, right? I mean, if you had a broken bone, even if you were taking exactly the right medical nutrition, doing the right herbs, doing the right diet, and everything was good, you need somebody to set the bone and put a cast on it, right? You need that. Right. I mean, if you had a laceration on your arm, you would need someone to stitch it up or close the wound and manage that, right? So sometimes you need physical medicine. Now, you've got the internal stuff dialed in. You've got the medical nutrition stuff locked and loaded. You've got the diet locked and loaded, and still you have a strong and persistent symptom. So you need physical medicine. You need to go to someone who can help you, who can assess this physically and tell you, well, look, man, there's a ligament issue here, there's a tendon issue here, it's a muscle issue here, and this is the muscle that it is. Or you know what, it's a joint issue. Or you know what, you have a bone spur or something. You got something. Right. And somebody needs to assess it and figure it out. The first thing that I would do, honestly, is I would find a certified rolfer. I'd find a certified rolfer. This speaks to me of a connective tissue issue. Or how about that? A connective tissue issue, right? So I believe the website is rolf.net or rolf.com. I don't know. You can figure it out. But there's an International Rolfing Institute, and you have to go there to get certified. And the website has a list, a state-by-state list of certified rolfers. So I would find somebody who's been trained in this and go and see them and have them take a look at your shoulder and give you an assessment. Because somebody who's versatile in that will be able to tell you, well, look, man, yeah, this is definitely a muscle thing. It's definitely a ligament thing. It's definitely a tendon thing. Or you know what? You need an X-ray or you need an ultrasound. Right now we're kind of just guessing. But that's the next step for you to take, Alan. And honestly, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised if you do it.
Okay. Hey, when you coming to Medford, Oregon?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? Only God knows, and she is keeping their mouth very closed. More on that when we come back. My lecture schedule is an amorphous thing, and the honest answer is I just don't know, but I appreciate the support. Thanks, Alan. Back with more, folks, going to Texas. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Waiting for the time and location for Dr. Wallach's lectures coming up in Edmonton. I can tell you that on the 30th of March, Wallach is going to be in Calgary at 834 Campus Place in northwest Calgary. That's in the great province of Alberta in Canada. The University of Calgary Science Building, room SB103. Want information about that? It's there in the Longevity back office, right? The email to address to send for information is the Chrome Domer, the CHROMEDOMER 6000, the Chrome Domer 6000 at Gmail. This information, of course, is available in your Longevity back office. Check it out. All right, so we are going to Texas next. We're going to talk to Scott about his daughter. Scott's been holding on for almost an hour and a half. Hey, Scott, you get the award for the most patient person in Texas today. Thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you, Dr. Glidden. I appreciate you taking my call.
Happy to help.
Okay, thank you. I have a 27-year-old daughter who is 6 months pregnant and is in the hospital battling Guillain-Barré syndrome for the past 3 weeks. First of all, I was wondering if you knew what caused GBS, and I guess I'll start there.
Well, the most common cause of Guillain-Barré is vaccinations. So, which would beg the question, did she get vaccinated before or during the pregnancy?
And I believe the answer is yes to before.
Okay, so that would be the most common. So there's a saying in diagnostic science, right, that when you hear hoofbeats, you think about horses before you think about zebras, right? So you think about the most common causes of things before you start thinking about weird stuff, right? Now, the MD is not going to tell you that vaccinations are the most common cause of this because, they're going to be legally liable for it, right? So you look it up. There's a direct cause and effect between Guillain-Barré syndrome and vaccination, especially the influenza vaccine. So if she was vaccinated for the flu, that's probably what caused it.
Yeah, she's a school teacher, so she was, I think, required to have that done.
Yeah.
But now, do you have any recommendations for treating the damage caused by the demyelination or demyelinating and polyneuropathy?
Yeah, you bet we do. And again, keep it in perspective, right, Scott? Because from the proper perspective, everything makes sense. So we don't treat Guillain-Barré. We support and promote the body's central nervous system, which is what's being damaged here by this illness, right? This is what we do. Our fundamental foundation principle here is that the human body has built-in God-given ability to fix itself. That the human body is trying to optimize its structure and function all the time, but it needs nutrition to do that. It needs raw materials to do that. The human body just can't make stuff out of thin air. So what we do here is, we would provide the body with food that's high in the stuff, the nutrients that the central nervous system is made from. So that is cholesterol. Your central nervous system is mostly cholesterol. That's what it's made from. It's mostly cholesterol. So whenever we are trying to support and promote healthy neurological function, even Harvard University agrees with us here. The recommendation would be a diet that's extremely high in fat. Harvard recommends 80%. So 80% fat. So she needs to be eating, full-fat milk, full-fat cheese, full-fat yogurt, butter, eggs, and more butter and more full-fat milk and chicken with the skin and just fat, man. She needs to go crazy for good fat. Of course, we recommend against olive oil. We recommend against oil in a bottle. We recommend against anything that's fried. So she needs to avoid oil but go crazy for fat, and the easiest way to do that is with eggs and butter. Eggs and butter and full-fat milk, full-fat yogurt. Now, if she's allergic to milk or eggs, then she needs to get duck eggs or goose eggs or quail eggs and switch from cow's milk to sheep's milk or goat's milk, right? So that's the workaround there if there's an allergy at play. So in addition to that, once we've got kind of the food thing dialed in, the recommendation would be eliminate from her diet food that's pro-inflammatory, right? You don't want to be putting diesel fuel in an unleaded engine or vice versa. So she needs to stop eating the 10 bad foods because those are just going to mess her up. She needs to stop the 10 bad foods. Are you familiar with that list? Do you have that list?
Yes, sir. I've researched that according to your program.
Okay, great. So she needs to stop those foods. She needs to start eating food that's high in fat. And then for nutritional support for the central nervous system, the recommendation, of course, would be, remember, we're boilerplate foundation medical nutrition strategists, right? So one healthy brain and heart pack and one selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. One healthy brain and heart pack and one selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month. And in addition to that, as many antioxidants as she can get into her body. The goal here being 100,000 ORAC of antioxidants a day, 100,000 ORAC of antioxidants a day. The easiest way to do that with longevity is with the triple treat chocolate. because the one piece of the triple treat chocolate gives like 18,000 ORAC, you know. If she does the Beyond Tangy 2.0, she's getting 8,000 ORAC with 2 servings, and so the numbers add up quickly here. But her goal for antioxidant intake is 100,000 ORAC of antioxidants a day. Now, she can do that with supplements. She can do it with diet, right? I mean, if she starts drinking green tea, that's loaded with antioxidants. If she switches from white wine to red wine, that's more antioxidants. If she switches from apples to blueberries, that's more antioxidants. If she uses curry powder or cayenne pepper or walnuts, that's more antioxidants. So she needs to kind of educate herself about which foods are high in antioxidants, and she needs to go for it, with the goal being 100,000 ORAC a day of antioxidants. Does that make sense?
And how are you spelling that ORAC?
That's ORAC. Now, if you're interested in learning more about that, which would be prudent, you can buy my book, because I wrote a couple of chapters about it. You know, you can download my book for $10 to your computer or your Kindle. You can get a softback for $20. Just go to my website, fireyourmdnow.com, fireyourmdnow.com. Or I think a better thing is become a subscriber to my online health recovery stuff, and that's called the Dr. Glidden Insider Information. Go to the website, click on the Insider tab, and if you sign up, if you get a subscription, it's $20 a month. Cancel at any time, by the way. No penalty, no charge, no harm, no foul. You'll have immediate access to over 100 hours of webinars that I've put together, one of which was I did a whole 45-minute webinar, PowerPoint presentation, slides, and everything, which explains this whole concept of antioxidants, what ORAC means, why what they are, why they're good, what things are bad. I lined the whole thing up, man, and it's in the archives just waiting for you to point and click on it. And the name of the particular webinar that you'd want to reference here if you become a subscriber is Where's the Fire? The name of that webinar is Where's the Fire? But I talk all about that in the webinars and in the book. And, a little bit of knowledge here goes a long way, man. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way, right?
Okay. Very good. Well, she also gave birth to a baby girl last year who had a diaphragmatic hernia.
Yeah, well, that's a birth defect. Yeah, see, that's a birth defect. Birth defects, from our point of view, are caused by nutrient deficiencies in the blood of the pregnant mother. And Dr. Wallach just wrote a book about this. It's called Epigenetics. Because the fact of the matter is that, we've got genes, right, and chromosomal material that's kind of at the base of everything that happens here. But as the body grows and matures, and as the baby's body develops and matures, and then as the adult's body grows and ages and matures, the genetic material that's at the root of everything in your body is trying to express itself. But in order to express itself, it needs raw materials. It needs minerals specifically. Your genes need minerals specifically. So if you become minerally deficient in the womb while your body is developing, your body is not going to be able to express its genetic information correctly, and so you're going to be born with a birth defect. This is different than having a bad gene. You can have a perfectly healthy gene. The gene tries to express itself, but because you're minerally deficient, the gene can't do that. And this is a whole new area of genetic medicine that's developing right now. Wallach is way ahead of this curve. He's always been ahead of this curve. But the long story short, from our point of view, any birth defect whatsoever is the obstetrician's fault. It's the doctor's fault. Because the doctor should have been educated and aware of the importance of medical nutrition, mineralization of the mother's body. But they weren't. They dropped the ball. I know about it. Dr. Wallach knows about it. It's been published. Why doesn't the obstetrician know about it? Because they're not taught medical nutrition. The obstetrician is no longer a physician. The obstetrician is a pharmacist who knows how to diagnose things. They stopped being doctors a long time ago, and this is a freaking-gantic problem. So, your daughter is demineralized. Her body is struggling, and she needs help. She needs help.
Well, what would you do then, based on what you said? We don't want to go through this again. So what would you recommend her taking for her unborn baby while she's hospitalized?
The same thing. There's no difference. And this is the beauty of this approach. And that's an excellent question, Scott. I mean, you just hit it. You hit the nail on the head, because this is a holistic thing, right? So what we do in every instance is give the body everything that it needs. We just give the body all of the raw materials that it needs appropriate for its body weight. And then we get the heck out of the way. So by supporting and promoting her central nervous system with holistic medical nutrition, by cleaning up her diet, and by taking extra cholesterol, you will also be doing the same thing for the baby's developing body. And everybody wins. You know, it's like the 1-2 punch, man. And this is why this is such an elegantly simple and effective program, because it is 100% in keeping with all of the body's needs. And our whole thing here, right, just give the body what it needs, stop eating stuff that's gumming up the works, get out of the way, and let Mother Nature take over. So it's the same thing, and that makes life pretty easy.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Glidden. I appreciate it. You've been very helpful.
Scott, thanks for your patience. Thanks for hanging on, man. I really do appreciate that. It makes me feel good, man. I appreciate you more than you know. That's how we roll here, ladies and gentlemen. You see that? He was willing to hang on for an hour and a half. Now, that's the type of dedication that you want to align yourself with. Those are the type of people you want to hang out with, isn't it? It's the type of people I want to hang out with. People just like Scott from Texas. And where do you find people like that? Longevity Nation. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden, going to Utah with Kate to finish it out. Stick around. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, finishing it out. Tuesday, the 25th day of March 2014. Going to go to Utah and talk to Kate about mystery seizures. Hey, Kate, thanks for the call. I know. Hey, by the way, you got the second prize because you're holding on for an hour and a half almost as well. I appreciate your patience too. There must be something in the water out there. You guys are awesome.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be on. Thanks for taking my call. Appreciate you.
So what's up?
Okay. I am a mystery case. I have been for quite some time. I have had a thing I have suffered with for over 30 years, and in the beginning, the first 25 years, I would only have these so-called spells at nighttime. About 10 years ago, I started having them in the daytime, and the symptoms are, I'll go through those quickly. The symptoms are, it's like a switch turns on in my head, and I feel very lethargic and heavy and tired and weak. And then my face pulls down, my speech can slur. I have it affects the gag reflex in the back of my throat. You know how someone's putting a cotton thing back there to swab your throat and makes you gag? That's what it feels like. So I have dry heaves with it, and my hands and arms go tingly and numb. Well, and they last at least 30 minutes. I'm always coherent. I like to lay down. If I lay down, they last longer. They have lasted up to several hours sometimes. Once in a while, certain conditions have brought them on, and then they turn into like a full-body seizure. Before that happened, when they started coming in in the daytime, I thought, am I having mini strokes or something like that? Is there something going on with my heart or my brain? So I went to heart doctors, and I went to 2 or 3, and they gave me all the heart tests, and the last one gave me a test called the bubble echo to see if I had a hole in my heart. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so they put the strap on your head, they inject the saline and bubbles, and they see if the bubbles bypass the lungs and go directly to your head. Well, they did, and they told me I had a hole in the heart, and that but when they gave me the bubble echo test, within seconds of the injection of the saline and the bubbles, I had the same symptoms come on, but I went into a full body jerking seizure. They shut the machine down. They thought I was having a stroke or something, and they shut it down, and they said, you need to have the PFO closure done because you are getting deoxygenated blood to your brain, and it's causing these symptoms. Well, at that time it made sense to me, so I did. I had that procedure done, but it never stopped the symptoms.
All right. Wow, that's interesting. How long was that surgery, by the way?
How long ago?
Yeah, now how long, like, was it a 12-hour surgery?
No, it's just they go up through your groin, they take a scope up one vein or artery into your heart to look and see how big the hole is. Then they put the little device, the closure. It's like a little titanium mesh yo-yo looking thing that collapses down into a rod.
Yeah, then did they do the bubble test after to make sure they closed it correctly?
They did, and I went into another full body seizure.
But well, I don't care about that. Was it closed, and were you still getting deoxygenated blood into the brain, or was the operation successful?
They said it was successful and that the hole was closed.
That's interesting.
So,
okay, well, and so now here you are, right?
Yeah, then they sent me to neurologist.
Yeah.
I went to neurologist. She says, yes, you're having some neurological problems. I said, if you give me a bubble echo, you can, because they were doing an EKG on my head.
Yeah.
So I said, if you give me a bubble echo, because they did an EKG for 24 hours, I didn't have one that day, of course, but I usually had them almost every day.
Yeah, don't you
Not
hate
every day, but almost every day.
Yeah.
And so I said, if you give me a bubble echo, you will find it. So they did it with an EKG. They said I had a temporal lobe seizure.
Yeah.
So then, but they said, we don't know what's causing it. So they put me on an antidepressant thing that they do for
you gotta be kidding me. All right, Kate,
no,
listen. All right, Kate.
Okay.
You're the greatest. Yeah, and I'm going to help you here. But we're out of time.
I know.
So look,
you are.
here's what I want you to do. I'm going to make a promise to you. Can you call the show tomorrow?
I sure can.
All right, you call the show first thing, right? It's 3 o'clock Central Time, and I will take you at the very first second of the very first segment. I will forego my monologue tomorrow to help you. Call me at the very beginning of the show, and we will pick up this conversation where we left off. I have advice for you that I think you're going to find very effective. I appreciate you, Kate. Thanks very much.
I appreciate you, too.
All right, folks, that's how we roll here. Next live event tonight. It's a worldwide live chat with me, 8 o'clock Central Time for Insider.